It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Well, my friends, are your heads spinning what's going on today in the world and the county? You have to be talking to yourselves because it's crazy out there. It really is crazy out there. We've been having shows to try to bring information to you as factually as we can. I know some people are a little disturbed with some of the shows that we've had, and I understand that. But I want you all to know something, that when I have a show, I research the material and the people that are on the show, just so you know that. And if anyone has any questions about that, they can always email me, sam@ssptv.com, and I will provide you the information and links to where I got my information from. When it comes to politics, that's another story, you know, and you're talking open discussion, that's another. But when we're talking about someone who's making a statement, we like to make sure they're factuals. But that being said, today we're going to have a lot of facts on Luzerne County. There are a lot of concerns about the election, concerns about COVID-19, and some things that are going on. So who other than Dave Pedri, who is the main man in the county? And I got to tell you, folks, and not because Dave's 6-8 feet away from me, but he's doing a fabulous job. He really is, considering all this turmoil we're going in. Dave, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on, Sam, as always. I appreciate it, especially during this difficult time.
Well, you've always been there for the news media and, you know, when you can, considering you have so much stuff. Okay, Dave, before we get into the specifics of, you know, the ballot and the election and COVID-19 and what's your general view right now of what's happening in Luzerne County? You know, your general view.
Well, listen, Luzerne County, we were hit really, really hard by this COVID virus. We are currently 8th in the state still of all the counties out there. So, but we are trending better. If you look at our numbers every single day, Sam, you're going to see our numbers are going down. Yesterday, there was only 10 more positive cases. You're going to see our deaths are slowing down. You're going to see our numbers are slowing down. So it means that the Luzerne County citizen has answered the call. And we've stayed home, and we've made sure that we flattened the curve, and we did all the right things. The question is, are we ready for the next step? I believe we have a strong case to show we're ready for the next step. But the coronavirus in Luzerne County was very prevalent, and we're hoping that we're able to calm it down now.
Okay, I hate to play Monday morning, what is it?
Quarterback, right?
Okay. But when we go back to when Representative Toohill and Senator Udechak wanting the governor to stop the people from New York coming into the town, okay? Nothing wrong with the people, but the point is they don't know what they were bringing in. That wasn't done as soon as it possibly could. So unfortunately, most of them here, and they have families and they have lives like we all have, okay? Sure. And that's where the concentration came. All right, now, here are some concerns that I'm getting from people. Right. Before we did the show today, I spoke to 3 doctors. They see patients almost every day, except when they're off of weekends or whatever. Now, I asked them, what is their opinion on this COVID-19? You know, well, the 3 of them, first of all, said it is very contagious. Mm-hmm. However, with that being said, the majority of deaths are, unfortunately, people who are in nursing homes or seniors. The other majority are people who have different illnesses, diabetes, overweight, I don't know, all that, but they have immune systems that are not the best, okay? Correct. Okay, with that being said, most people who have it, okay, have asymptomatic, they're able to stay home and get better, all right? With that being said, how do you, as the county manager, then approach, because I've seen people that are hurting, I've heard from people who are hurting, Dave. I'm sure you know who they are.
Absolutely.
Some people, you know, are really hurting bad. Businesses are suffering. Okay.
Small businesses got hurt.
Is this unnecessary for all of this to go without, you know, just throwing up your arms and saying, let's do whatever we want? I mean, is this unnecessary?
Here's where I think we are, Sam. I mean, obviously we're in the middle of May here. As I said, we are seeing our numbers starting to drop. So I'm getting to the point where I'm saying, hey, listen, we did our part. We stayed in place. We made sure that we got the doctors here. We wanted to make sure that our healthcare providers were able to take any and all concerns they had and respirators. Sam, when this whole thing started, I was on the phone trying to negotiate with people to get additional freezer trucks for morgue patients, because we thought we were going to have, if 1% of the county population died because of this COVID-19 virus, that's 3,000 bodies that we needed. Now, lucky, as we're sitting here in the middle of May, we are looking at, we're about 120 deaths. Now, listen, 120 deaths is 120 more deaths than we would have liked, but it's definitely not the 3,000 that we originally thought. So, yes, listen, I do believe that we took the necessary steps when we needed to take them, but I think we're ready now for the next step. And we have to lay out a plan for the Department of Health to say, this is where we're going, this is how we're going to be adults about this, and go from there.
And the same scenario, when they're asking for ventilators and they brought the ship into New York, et cetera, and I understand them, being precautious, okay? My God, they didn't even come close to, even, I think the ship, is it still there? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. No.
Okay, but the point is that, how much then of this turns into politics? Now, the other survey I did, I've asked those 3 doctors, and I've also asked 6 Democrats and 6 Republicans. Mm-hmm. Of the 6 Democrats, believe me, they're staunch. I mean, the devil could run on a Democrat ticket and God could run on a Republican ticket, and they'd still vote for the devil. People like that. Okay, then these are the 6, and 6 Republicans. Probably the same way.
Sure.
The 12 of them totally agree. Totally agree. This is politics out of control. Okay, now I know you're in a situation. Okay, and I don't want you, but I mean, because this is. They're playing the numbers, playing the people. We don't know whether we're getting true facts. We heard from the White House, not only from the White House, from Brexit, and some saying that CDC is not. They're throwing everyone into the mix. Like if you had flu and died from flu, if you had pneumonia, and you had COVID, they're throwing COVID in. So they're now this is what we're hearing. Sure. Okay. So with all that being said, the political structure here, you start wondering. And so as a county manager, you have to look at this with open eyes. How do you look at this entire picture?
Well, listen, the first things first is that we rely upon our medical community and we rely upon our hospitals. They're the ones who see it first off. The Lehigh Valley Health Network in Hazleton, we have a standing phone call with them once a week. We were on the phone with them every day when this whole thing first started, and they were being inundated, and they had a lot of information. You listen to those doctors and the desperation in their voices when the whole thing first started. And now they're saying, okay, well, what's the next step now? So that's something I believe is that our doctors saw a huge influx in the beginning, and then it started to calm down. I also, as administrator, I think it would be remiss of me just to say, guess what, I think we're open, how about that? I guess we're going to do it. And as part of me says I would like to do that. But the other side of it is, at the end of the day, there are 317,000 people who live in Luzerne County, and we are responsible for their safety. So we have to listen to the doctors, review the steps one by one. I think we're close to getting out of this quarantine, and the step is, where do we go from here?
Well, that's the question, okay? And again, you certainly want to be safe, but when you have the fear put into you every day, and, they're telling you, they scare the living hell out of you, all right? And then you go back and look at science, and you look at, a while back, Fauci says the mask means nothing, okay? I mean, I saw the quote that was on TV where he said, well, you don't really need the mask, okay? All of a sudden now we need the mask, okay? I don't know. I mean, so you're saying, well, we have to listen to the doctors and pros. Why are all these different things being thrown at us?
Listen, I think that I do think it's a lot of the medical community, and I do unfortunately do believe that some of it has gotten to be political. But at the end of the day, I'm going to listen to the local people who we know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work with my Lehigh Valley Hospital, I'm working with them from where we're at. I'm going to listen to the Luzerne County coroner, who works for Luzerne County, who works for us. He's seen over 120 individuals pass away, and talk to their families about what has happened in Luzerne County. I want to talk to our nursing home administrators. Some of our nursing homes have no issues whatsoever, and some are hit so hard, it's frightening as to what those individuals go through. So you talk to those people and you work with those people. Listen, you got to think globally, but you act locally. You take care of home, you take care of your own people, and we'll start from there.
Okay, folks, I'm talking to Dave Pedri, the county manager, about the COVID-19, what's happening in the county. Also, the mail-in ballot. Safe, unsafe, unsure. Did you apply for it? Why should you? Why shouldn't you? When we come back, we'll talk about that. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7 SSPTV.com, which you can get on your phone. We did away with the app only because when you go to our website on your phone, you'll see what I'm talking about. Everything is clear. Everything's there. All the shows are there, and our news, etc., and updates. My guest today is Dave Pedri, who is the Luzerne County Manager, talking about a number of things. All right, so we get the election. Interesting enough, the election is June the 2nd.
Correct.
And the governor says he's making a change June the 4th.
Correct.
So I here again the logic. Maybe I must be stupid or dumb. I have no idea, but because maybe I don't have that intelligence that they have in Harrisburg. That he surrounds himself with all these geniuses, and maybe I'm not that smart and intelligent. So I'm just a dumb little boy from Pardeesville. I don't understand it. But okay, so let's talk about election.
Sure.
And all the frustrations you.
Sure. So listen. So we moved it. So the primary election. This is 2020. So it's a presidential election. Everybody comes out to vote for the presidential election. The 2020 primary was set for April 28th. Well, all this coronavirus came into play. The legislature moved it to June 2nd. We were hoping everything was going to be clear for June 2nd. We're still in the midst of it, as we talked about. So we had a couple different options when it comes to the election. For the first time in Pennsylvania history, you're allowed what's called a mail-in ballot. And for this law that was passed by a Republican legislature and signed into law by the governor, Democratic governor, allows a voter to vote from the safety and security of their own home. If any individual is concerned about going to the polls or getting sick or anything along those lines, you have the ability to apply for mail-in ballot. We'll mail you the ballot, you fill it out, you send it right back to Luzerne County. That ballot is then locked in a room. The key to that room is locked in a separate location. Those locations are known to the general public. And then when they're all brought out at the very end, everything is scanned, everything is reviewed by a bipartisan team. And then that's the new process. We'll have mail-in ballot.
Okay, so let's go back to what you just said here. Okay, I happen to have here an application for the mail-in ballot. I think all Luzerne County residents are going to receive this. So you fill this out, and then what happens? They send you a ballot?
Correct. You fill out that out, and it has to be received by the Luzerne County Bureau of Elections by May 26th.
Okay.
If it's received by May 26th, then we will mail you back your ballot.
Okay, so if you have these, if you want the mail. Okay, so now let's go down. Let's boil down to the trust factor, okay?
Sure.
Although you said you have over 40-some thousand people that
Correct.
have, they probably believe, and hopefully it's the truth, that when they fill out their ballot, it'll be confidential, and when it arrives, wherever it's going to arrive, it'll be placed in a place that is secure.
Correct.
And no monkey business would happen. Okay?
Correct.
Reason I say that is, in the last presidential election, known for a fact, my friends, there has been fraud going on up in the Poconos with people coming in from New York voting. There were fraud with paper elections where they were thrown away if they were for Trump. In LA, we have two witnesses that were on TV said they actually saw the fraud going on. All right, so now with the craziness that's happening with everyone trying to play politics, both sides, with the general public,
Sure.
Unfortunately. How do I trust this?
Well, first off, here's the thing. We haven't had a case of voter fraud in Luzerne County for a lot of years, for decades. And that's the first step. And people talk about voter fraud, oh, it happens all the time. But did you know that actually voter fraud is every 1 out of every million voters? So I've talked to the district attorney. She has a staff on place. She's going to investigate voter fraud if there are ever any questions or anything along those lines. But the voter fraud in this particular case, we have nothing to be concerned about. Your ballot, if it's mailed back to Luzerne County, it is checked in. You'll see when it was checked in, it was stamped in. It was then going to be placed in a room that's locked. And then once it's come out, you will see it will be checked to make sure it's going to be opened by hand by a nonpartisan team, reviewed with all the candidates around, if a representative of the candidates if they so choose. One step at a time. It's going to take a long time. We may not have election results on actual election night because we have to tabulate over 45,000 of these mail-in ballots. But we're going to take it one at a time and we're going to follow it all the way through. Listen, these mail-in ballots, this is the first time in Pennsylvania history we've ever had them. So listen, there's going to be some concerns. But listen, we have people trained on these things. We're able to work on these things. In addition, voter fraud, as much as we talk about it, the actual voter fraud that we've seen is a little bit overlooked.
And I know that's infinitesimal, but the point is, here again, because of all the hype that we see going on today, and everyone trying to play politics.
Sure.
And everyone, these next few months are going to be ugly, okay, on both sides.
We're already seeing the commercials.
Yeah. So it's going to be ugly, okay, and then it's always you got to search through all this to get the facts. All right. So the thing I like about this is that when you get your ballot and you're able to look at the names, you could do your research on your own.
Right.
And you could decide if Dave Pedri's there and he's running for whatever, and Sam Lesante, you could check these people out, make sure that you could do research.
Right, and I want to be clear. People, I've heard from both Republicans and Democrats on the mail-in ballot. Their mail-in ballot was passed by a Republican legislature and signed by the Democratic governor. This is a nonpartisan approach to get people out there. Now listen, if you don't want to do the mail-in ballot, that's fine. We're still going to have the polls are open. The polls are still open. You can come in to vote, walk right in the way you normally do, vote the way you normally do. I would ask you to wear a mask. If you don't have a mask, one will be provided for you at the Elections Bureau if you so choose. You fill out your ballot and you're on your way.
Oh, everything. So you're not going to have the machines.
No. So we're not going to have a machine this year because the machines for the coronavirus, we were concerned that we would have to clean them after every use.
I see. Yeah.
So what the difference is going to happen is in Luzerne County, you're going to come in. You're going to be provided with a stylus, your own stylus, or you're going to sign into the poll book. You get to keep the stylus, and you walk, and then you're handed a pen, and you take your pen. It's your pen. It's only for you, and then you're handed your ballot. You go in there. The ballot looks just like this, Sam. You fill it out like a Scantron sheet.
Can I see that?
Absolutely. You fill it out. You write in Sam Lesante for President of the United States of America, and then you walk over to the tabulator, and you feed it through the tabulator. You feed it through the tabulator, and you're on your way. That's how we're going to be voting. Now, there are over 30 counties who utilize these across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're going to utilize paper ballots in this case. This only because no one has to worry about touching a machine someone else touched. No one has to worry about touching a pen someone else touched or anything along those lines. And that'll be the ballot, and you're on your way.
I see. And so they just have to fill in the little things. Because this is just a sample ballot.
Yep, this is just a sample ballot that was...
Because I see my name here as the president. You have me down as a president.
I pre-wrote it in.
So it's broken down pretty... Here again, you see, I'm able to, when the real names are in here, I'm able to see, well, I don't know too much. I mean, sometimes when you go in the booth and you see names and I don't know about that person, you said, so you're, all right, I'll guess and put it in. This, I think, is great because you can now do, I think, homework on this.
Yeah, especially when you get the mail-in ballot, you do your homework, you spend your time with it, you review it. It's the new way to go about doing things. And I mean, Sam, as we're living in this thing right now, it's the safest way.
Yeah. Okay, so now you have to consolidate.
Correct.
Okay, and so will we know, like, for example, where we go?
Correct. So if you go into the Luzerne County website, and I'll share this information with you, if you can put it out to your viewers, we've consolidated a lot of our polling places into big locations. You know, some of the polling places are small locations. St. Gabe's basement church. I mean, and there's not a lot of ventilation through there. But we've asked our school districts, and every one of them has stepped up. We're going to be using gyms in a lot of our high schools. Come in, spread out, fill in the application, no parking issues, and you're on your way. In the Hazleton area, we're going to utilize the Castle and Heights Terrace as the polling places. In Hazel Township, the normal polling places will be utilized. And in West Hazleton, we're going to utilize West Hazleton Middle School.
And the Valley?
And the Valley are all going to stay the same.
They're all staying the
because
same?
Because they're already all big enough to be spread out across the thing.
Okay.
So there's 58 polling places across the entire county. Don't forget, Luzerne County is huge. 317,000 people live in Luzerne County. 58 polling places. Go vote there if you want to vote. I would recommend you take the mail-in ballot option. You choose not to, that's on you, no problem. Come to vote in person.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have the mail-in option in general election.
Correct. The mail-in option is on the ballot for every year now.
Is that right?
for every election. And you have the ability to say, I want to get a ballot every time or just this time, and you move from there. And if you got a mail-in application and you decide, you know what, I want to go to the polls, you still could go to the polls and vote. But you're going to be asked to fill out what's called a provisional ballot, which is the same ballot as everybody else, but those are put to the side and counted separately to make sure there's no double voting.
Oh, okay. So you're saying if I did do a mail-in ballot,
right,
and I went to I still went.
Correct. If you did the mail-in ballot, you went to the polls. The poll worker is going to have a list of every person who's filed a mail-in ballot.
Right.
So that way you can't vote twice.
All right.
Even if it will be for yourself.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. In terms of looking at the problems we're having in the businesses that are suffering in Luzerne County, I know the president came out with the protection payroll program, and then the small business loans, etc. Does the county have any assistance for small businesses if they couldn't get those loans?
We started looking at what we're trying to do with our Community Development Fund. The Community Development Fund is an opportunity from the federal authorities that we're able to provide this information. I also support Wilkes-Barre City Mayor George Brown. Mayor Brown did some great ideas. He took some federal money, was able to do some small business loans. Those are options that we have out there. We want to make sure we support our small businesses in Luzerne County, the mom and the pops. So we want to make sure that those are always taken care of. So as a consumer in Luzerne County, what I do is I try to go out myself to make sure we take care of those restaurants themselves. But there are opportunities out there for people.
Okay, so knowing that this hit, and a lot of people who have businesses certainly don't, I mean, I know in our business everyone got hit,
yeah.
Okay? Some people got hit hard that their taxes are due from last year that have to be paid in June, okay? Is there any relief for these people in their taxes?
Sure. The first thing is if it's last year's taxes, our vendor, which is Elite Revenue Services, has payment plans. So Elite Revenue Services will work with you on a payment plan. As long as you keep up with your payments, you're able to pay last year's taxes. In the 2020 year, what the county decided to do was extend the face period. So we add an additional 60 days onto the face period on every county tax bill so that people can get a hold of themselves, can make sure that they can get caught up before it goes into penalty. So that the county taxes aren't due, it won't go into penalty until August 18th of 2020.
Okay, so going back to people who had a tough time last year and they have to pay it by June, could they set their own payment program, or
it's set up by our Elite Revenue Services, and what they do is they say how much you owe, how long it's going to take, how long to get out of these things, and as long as you keep up with the payment plans, we have a lot of great success stories out of those things.
Okay, folks, I'm talking to David Pedri, County Manager for Luzerne County. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, my email is sam@ssptv.com. You can get all our shows. Just Google ssptv.com, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's so easy. You don't need the app. This is just much easier for you. David Pedri, Luzerne County Manager, is here today. All right, just a summary on the election and COVID-19. And how do we get our sanity back?
Listen, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. First things first is take care of yourself, take care of your family. Maintain, your distancing, good hygiene, no matter what. That's always a good thing to follow, no matter what.
So you did take your shower before.
Today, yes, today. And I got out of sweatpants for the first time in some time. So
Okay.
today's a big day for me.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the election. Please come out to vote. Either you take the mail-in ballot or you go out to the polls. Either way, we're going to do it, or we're going to do it the safe way. And the 4th thing is when it opens up to this coronavirus, Sam, we're close to getting to our quarantine levels. Luzerne County citizens have absolutely answered the call, and we've stayed home and done everything we possibly could to make sure that we flatten this curve. Now, the next step is where do we go from here?
Well, as I open the show, it's crazy. I mean, just the whole thing is crazy. Folks, this is a mail-in ballot application. If you receive one and misplaced it, you can go to the website. Could they go VotesPA?
Correct.
VotesPA.com, and then you could get the information from there if you want to do a mail-in ballot. As he said, they will be having the polls open, and they'll provide you with masks, and you'll be able to vote there. Dave, anything on closing you'd like to tell our wonderful viewers?
Sam, I thank you for having me on. Most importantly, I want to say thank you to the citizens of Luzerne County for what they do every day. I mean, and to our first responders, we're getting there. There's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, we're hoping to see it there, and there's only one thing I hope that we would get more of, and that's the truth. We would get the truth and forget both sides,
Sure.
Republican and Democrat, and hope we get the truth. Folks, any other information you need, you can go to our website, ssptv.com. We have a lot of shows on now that we have taping that would be of tremendous interest to you. We'll see you next time.